You're listening to Burn Rate and Bullshit, the show where founders, suits, and corporate clowns all get called the fuck out.
We're Josh Robinson and Mike Nathan, entrepreneurs turned VC, with zero filters, strong opinions, and a bullshit detector set to high.
Welcome to the only business podcast that actually tells it like it is.
I'm a desperate man. Send lawyers, guns, and money. This shit has hit the fan.
Runway is not a suggestion, it's survival. But right now, half of corporate America is out here playing Monopoly with real money. Cheap cash made everyone lazy. Founders, boards, investors. You can only burn dollars to buy time until time runs out. And let me tell you, the clock's fucking ticking.
Exactly. I'm sick of companies spinning profitability is around the corner. Guess what? Corners don't move. If your business model is smoke and mirrors and investor Kool-Aid, you're not building, you're bullshitting. Capital discipline is not sexy, but it's the difference between being a business and being a bonfire with a logo. Yeah, who do you see burning? Who's the bonfire with a logo?
It's around the AI craze. It's going to be really hard to know for sure.
Yes.
And well, part of what I want to chat through today is how do you distinguish money that's being spent, even if it's big dollars, if it's driving the right value versus money that is just being pissed away? What is really just being set on fire? I think it's too early to tell in AI, and I know for certain at least some of it's you're going to look in the rearview mirror and go, that was a fucking waste. That was $100 billion that no one's ever going to see again.
Well, billion. What about Altman with his $1 trillion ask for all kinds of cash?
Yeah.
I mean, that is just setting the entire world on fire.
Well, what's insane to me about that is what's the shelf life of that hardware that the $1 trillion is going to build out? I mean, it's obsolete in, well, Moore's Law, I think, is still applicable, right? It's going to double in everything every 2 years. So call it 5 years, what they're building out, it's going to be completely obsolete. You're going to have to rebuild. It's insane.
Yeah, you're going to have to retranche to build the new infrastructure of whatever.
And you can't tell me there's going to be that much value built from that spend.
I can't imagine.
I just can't get my head around that.
Well, those are the big boys, right? Big boys can kind of do that. There's a Silicon Valley cowboyism to, I'm burning $1 quadrillion a year. That means I'm the coolest kid on the block. For startups, it's opposite day, right? Mm-hmm. You're not even remotely thinking about, hey, how much money can I burn? You're just saying, how much money do I need? Mm-hmm. Right? Isn't that the question that maybe the AI giants are not asking, are big the tech bros? I always sit down and tell entrepreneurs, there's a golden rule when you're trying to raise money, like, hey, what do I need to worry about for my cash requirements? How much should I ask for in a raise or borrow or figure out? And the golden rule, it always takes twice as long and twice as much money. I don't care how many startups have been around, that rule has always changed. Or there's always this element of, we did a really conservative budget and a really modest sales plan.
I feel like that was a dig at me.
Maybe. You hear people say that all the time, and guess what? They're out of money 4 months before they break even on cash flow, or half a year. And they just need that little bit of cushion to probably push them over the edge. And it's at their most vulnerable time, after they blew all their cash. And they can't believe it's not going as well as it should. If you sit on a board, if you can ever speak to a CEO founder, tell them, what is your very best guess? And I need $2 million and be a year before profitability. Great. You're going to need $2 million and plan for 2 years of operations, minimum, because you're going to be wrong. I mean, what do you find? I mean, that's the same thing, right?
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think it's sometimes you don't necessarily need that cash, but to your point of the cushion, you get to a spot. This is true in your personal life, and it's true in the professional sense in the startup world. You get to a spot where, gosh, do we have enough money? Do we not have enough money? Yep. Scared money makes stupid decisions. And so if you can have that buffer, even just for the ease of mind, just the peace of mind, that can be worth, a lot in terms of giving up dilution on that cap table for it.
There are, especially as first-time founders, small companies, you just make dumber decisions the smaller your bank account gets. You're like, oh my God. You start to panic. You forget about the things you should be investing in. That's a really good point. You
won't spend the money on something you absolutely should because
you won't make the same decisions. When you're almost out of cash, you don't make the same decisions. And likely to really stupid decisions that are super short-term, not long-term thinking.
So you do the analysis, you come up with a number, you double it, you get it.
Yeah.
So you're able to raise the money. How do you manage that then? How do you know that your burn's not going to blow through it?
Well, I think you absolutely, if this is now for startups, not exactly, larger corporations, they have a lot of controls in place. If you're a founder of even the smallest yard cleanup business, or you're a florist, or you're at-home nurse, if you're pushing past, mid 6 figures in revenue, going into 7 figures, you better have a CFO controller type person to help you walk through that. Otherwise, you will lose sight. You'll have wishful thinking and do all that. And that's just on the cash side of it. The other thing people need to do along with cash, you need to set an expectation with your board or with yourself or whoever you're loaning, your investors, whatever that is. How long is it going to take? If you say I'm going to be profitable in a year and you're not, everybody remembers that. Mm-hmm. So not only are you facing a cash consideration, you start to worry about, what are my investors thinking? What is my board thinking? You're going to sound like a moron because you want over budget, you're burning, and you're not getting break even. So communicating to that board is another piece. Get yourself a CFO, communicate to your investors or board, or however that looks like for you. I think those are 2 really key things. Mm-hmm. And nobody is, at least I found, have you ever been impressed with any of my sales projections?
Not that I can think of.
None. Zero. There's 0, right? So
none come to mind.
None of them really come to mind. But we've also had awesome growth. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those where, don't shoot your mouth off too much about what you think you're going to do. Let it show up and let it maybe happen naturally. Again, this is less about the cash, but more expectations. But I find it's easier to ask for more cash or more investment later when you've been pretty modest before this, even more modest than you might think. So if you do need another round of investment, or you need to go back to somebody, everything you said was true. We said we'd be here a year ago. This is where we're at. Mm-hmm. We think we're almost there. So those would be 2 things. Those controls, get yourself doesn't need to be a CFO, because you don't need a level that high. At the bare minimum, a staff accountant, somebody who can tell you what's coming in and what's going out, controller maybe.
Mm-hmm. I would argue, profitability, of course, is the metric, right? Mm-hmm. Capital T, capital M. And when it comes to managing burn, I argue that there's a lot more that matters than profitability in terms of, are we spending the money on the right stuff? And so founders need to figure out what those things are in addition to the bottom line, the profitability number. Is it minimal viable product, getting an MVP by a certain time and place. Right. That's got certain sets of features that we know the customers want. Is it traction somehow in the marketplace? Is it adoption? Is it users? Is it whatever those numbers are, every dollar you spend should be getting more of those or better of those, whatever that is. With, of course, the goal is that leads to profitability at some point.
I'll say it in more of a founder version. That's a great CFO explanation. I'm going to say it this way. Whatever you're going to spend, you got to get value back for it.
Yeah, 100%.
It's got to be a milestone, or you're saying it, and I'm thinking about it the same way. If I'm spending $1, I better be getting $1.10 back, or $2, or $3, or whatever that.
But I would say, though, do you agree with this, that whatever that value proposition is, you need to be, aligned on that with your investors and with your board before the money even comes in.
So with your board, yes, but here's, you said it, but let me fuck it up.
That's how this works.
Yeah, that's how it works. You need to be saying, I'm going to take I've got this great business idea, this great widget. We're going to take your money and I'm going to deploy it. And once I'm done spending your $1 million you've given me or whatever dollar amount that is, we're going to have a company that looks like this. It's going to be 10 employees, X amount in revenue, this much in profitability or not. I'm going to have contracts. I'm going to have technology. I'm going to have these different things. And I think if we all look at that future state, that company will be worth something.
Yeah.
Put a dollar amount on it. Or that's what it's going to look like. That's our thinking. If you can't say that really clearly and know what those levers of value are, and I'm thinking valuation even as well, but value in those different buckets to drive the overall value. If you don't know that game plan, you should stop right now and sort that out. And that's what you communicate to your board. These are the things you're going to look like. So it's really clear, really obvious.
Well, then that becomes your framework to decide, do I spend this dollar on that thing or not?
Right? The decisions get really easy.
Yeah.
Hey, what part of this, I feel like I've heard this before. How does this help us get to the thing? I feel like I've heard that before from someone in the room. Hey, how does hiring this other chucko over here help us with profitability, help us with acquiring new accounts, with processing, claims or whatever it might be in healthcare? I completely agree. There needs to be, it helps you manage the rest of the team even. I don't know, ask the 3 questions. What's your number one goal this quarter? It may not be profitability. You said it earlier. It may not be. It's like, all I need, well, think about, remember all the glory days of SaaS businesses? You could give a shit about burning cash. Are you getting contracts? Are you stacking those?
What's your ARR?
ARR. God, I could puke every time I hear that stuff again. I'm not so hot
Well, that's
anymore.
why I think profitability can't be the thing that founders focus on early on, at least, because I can make the company break even right now.
Yeah.
Quit fucking spending money. Break even. Right?
Hey, all of you, your pay just got cut in half or you're let go. Congratulations. Profitable. We're all set.
Yeah.
We're all set.
Yeah. That doesn't work, right? Because you're not getting the value then. So
You're right. Profit, and there's instances. So I look at Livio Health Group. That was one of my first or one of the early healthcare companies that I founded, along with my wife Sarah and some others. And when we weren't making a ton of money. Some months not at all. We were losing our ass. But the value we created to the people we ultimately exited to was way more than a cash inflow or profitability. We were saving a large payer millions of dollars a month on higher cost of care, access to care, a bunch of different metrics that were in the millions, and we were only maybe scrubbing out.
They weren't financial metrics to you.
They weren't at all. Yeah. I had no.
Yeah.
So part of the game can be it's not profitable, but I'm worth $10 million to a strategic who doesn't give a shit about my profitability, sort of. I mean, they do, but they don't. And I'm more valuable to them inside their engine than I ever can be independent.
Your net loss is lower than their current cost structure.
Yeah.
So they buy you, they lower their cost structure.
And to be honest, a great lesson I learned in that one is I did stress the fuck out about making payroll, which you should, by the way. Rule 1, make payroll.
Pay your people.
Yeah, pay your people.
It turns out they don't stick around very long.
Weird. So who knows?
They're not volunteers.
But
I'm told.
You're expecting to be paid today. That's interesting. So make payroll. And I was really focused on how much do we have, what's coming next. And had I had insight to what, a large multi-billion-dollar payer, insurance company, healthcare insurance company was thinking was, boy, just decrease my cost at the emergency room. Decrease my cost to, an ambulance having to go out every 2 days to your home. And I wasn't even thinking in those terms. But then once they came in and I got to see behind the veil a little bit, like, holy shit, there's a whole array of things that we could have been building. It might have added to our cash burn. It might have been, and they probably would have paid us more in an exit had we had more of that infrastructure built out. So you're 100% right on the value piece, or there's more to the profitability.
What about in the scenario you've done everything right, or maybe you haven't? You're in the situation that
Likely.
you're out of money, you're getting low. You and I have been
there,
partners in a very cash-strapped business before. What are some lessons you've learned? Maybe from that one, that example specifically, or just in general? What?
Know it. Don't kid yourself.
Yeah.
Know that you're in that position. Like, okay, this is now.
And know it as soon as you can.
Yeah, know it as soon as you can.
Yeah.
And that's, I want to talk about something in a minute, but what do you do? I think you have to focus on the closest to the money. There's two ways you can solve your burn rate problem where you're almost cash out. You can cut cost, and you can identify that pretty easily. We don't need as many people. We're not doing office lunches anymore. No trips to Rangoon for the corporate retreat. You kind of cut those up pretty quick. That's obvious. And you can change that. So you can make that change. Number two is increase your cash in the door. That oftentimes looks like sales, but it doesn't have to be. I want to ask you about some tips and tricks in a minute. But increase your sales. There is that. How about we not only double down? Don't cut marketing or salespeople. Double down on it. Give them a sales contest. It'll make you lose your hair. Hey, I want to spend more money on a contest, but we need to cash in right frickin' now. So I think when you know that, the minute you know it, you have to be thinking binary. Where can I cut? Where can I grow? Like right now. If there's something that takes a 6-month, sales cycle, forget about it. Who's on the goal line right now we can drag over the line and get cash in the door quickly? You better know that. So you got to do those two things, period. Let me ask you this. For those people watching, as a CFO of a early stage startup, less than $100 million, what's it like dealing with, you've dealt with $12 billion CEO, you've dealt with less than $12 billion CEO and me, or any start, and you've been around other companies where you have a founder / CEO, it's their one or only sort of company they ran. How do you bring light around cash to those people versus the $1 billion CEO?
10-figure companies, they don't give a shit about the cash burn. Typically, right? I mean, you can get in a really tight spot there, but usually there's enough cash generating to support the business. It's in the smaller, mid-sized companies that you really see that issue. My approach has been, the CEO, the CFO, the broader management team need to spend a lot of time early on. We always joke that this is such a cliche, but stacking hands. We're going to stack hands.
Oh God, there it is.
But everyone
the first reference,
right?
Ding. We
Ding.
have a fucking.
Everybody take a drink every time someone says stack your hands.
Stack hands.
But the management team needs to be on the same page with what the strategy is. What are the priorities? Like, what are the top 3 things in stack, rank stack order? And then as you're going through your day to day and, the good idea monster comes out and it's like, hey, we got this squirrel over here. You can
this is autobiographical.
Yeah. I mean, this is, some examples, recent real life examples. But then whether it's you or someone else on the team, you can pull everyone back together and say, okay, how does this align with what we've all said we're going to do? Oh my God. Does that sound familiar?
Sound really familiar, yeah.
And most times, you're able to get people back to, okay, this is what the plan is. You're right. Let's stay focused. We have to stay disciplined. And sometimes that good idea monster does have the right pivot.
The good idea monster. Yeah.
And going through that exercise, you can say, okay, this does make sense. But then something's got to come off the list.
Right.
If we're going to add this, what's coming off? Because you can't do everything.
That's right. And I think of our time together and when I think at other people, that founder CEO guy or gal is likely bent to be super positive. The glass is always half full. Josh, there's nothing wrong here. We're totally good. You got to be the tough guy and say, like, no, dummy, we're actually running out of money and we need to change something critical.
Listen here, fucktard.
Yeah. People like me need that to literally be hit in the face, make it really black and white. Hey, I believe you. We're not going out. There's a tough spot here. We'll get through it. But you need to understand we can't do last month like this month or the next quarter like this quarter. All those things. I've always needed that at different particular times, as you may be aware of. Like, hey, we need to change the ship or turn the ship, not change it. Change the ship, change your heading. Various nautical references I can pull as an old sailor.
As a Navy man.
As a Navy man, mostly. When you're up against it, so one of the things I've appreciated about you whenever we've been tight on cash or we needed to do something, there's the usual cut costs, grow your hip, sure. After you've done all that, what are like the super ninja sneaky ways that you're like, you know, beg, borrow, and steal? I think I had a coin to it with like Gypsy King.
Yeah, we're in
Beg, borrow,
Gypsy
and steal.
Kingness. Yeah.
Gypsy Kingness. Mm-hmm. What does that look like?
Anytime you would say that.
Because it's the worst. You're in no better spot, right? And Gypsy King, for those of you at home, is this idea of we've done everything as best we can, and now we really have to kind of go to the next level of beg, borrowing, well, not stealing, not literally stealing, but maybe robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah. Fortunately, a lot of startups end up in that spot.
A lot.
Many try to ignore that reality or pretend that it doesn't exist. What I've learned is, one, you got to slow payments to vendors. Some of that you can be proactive and renegotiate terms and say, hey, I know we were net 30. Can we go to net 60? What does that look like? And so you can be proactive that way and do it contractually. You're not going to typically get very far with that. You can, but not always. And so then you just got to stop paying people or slowing payments. And vendors are going to notice. As it turns out, much like employees, they want to get paid.
Yeah.
Doomsday scenario is they shut you off and you don't have access to whatever you need for the means of production. What I've learned, though, is if you can stay in front of it with those people and communicate proactively and say, hey, we're going to be a few days late. We got to push this out. And then you kind of, as the controller, as the finance, it doesn't even have to be a controller, because as a solopreneur, you might be
everything,
doing something with the finance too. So try to project out, who absolutely needs to get paid now with the cash I do have versus who can I push out.
Yeah.
And be really proactive in your communication around that.
I think about that part of it, and to be clear, no one's advocating to short pay vendors as a rule of thumb, but it's one of those things, it's a tactic for a temporary cash crunch.
Yeah.
And the way I think about it as sort of a founder or founders think about it, when you engage with vendors, believe me, you better engage with them in a real partnership forward, because there can be times when they get over on you and you get over on them, et cetera, and you want this to be a long-term thing. So if I'm going to be light for a couple of months, I want to make sure that doesn't screw up their business so they can't perform for me, or I'm not taking advantage of it. And I think you've got to have that relationship from the senior leadership of your company to the senior leadership of your vendor, so that when times do get tight, they know you, they trust you, they think the world of you guys, and they want to be supportive. We've dealt with vendors who have always wanted to be supportive of us, and I think that was because of all the hard work we've done.
I think a lot of it's credit to you too in casting the vision of what's possible for the company. Right, we're in this little tight spot here, but here's how we're going to grow out of it. Here's where we're going to be next year, next month, and getting them to buy into that and being a partner in that. That I think is key.
Yeah. So you're right. Those are good tips and tricks, and people get it. I'd also put a word of caution out there for founders or CFO. My experience has always been these cash crunches have been temporary. If your cash crunch is permanent or it's systemic, it's long-term, you've got to look yourself in the mirror and say, this is really hard for a founder, senior team, founders.
Something's fundamentally wrong with this model.
It doesn't work, guys. I mean, I can't keep fucking with my vendors, my employees, paying myself, not paying myself, just because that's when you have to make the decision. Maybe it's time to shut it down. Unwind this thing if you can, as best you can. Don't also dilute yourself to thinking next year we're going to get them. Well, that goes back what are we going to do differently? A lot of our experience when cash has been tight, we had the sales. Right. The cash was tied up in AR, and for whatever reason, it just wasn't coming in as quickly as we needed it to. Right. But I've been around, and you have too, those companies that are perpetually unprofitable, or it's too herky-jerky, too up, too down, and it's too hard to predict. And I think you have to be I think you've got to be a good steward of all stakeholders, and stakeholders include your vendors. It includes the people who rely on you for a paycheck. There's all sorts of stakeholders. You've got to be good to everybody, including your investors. Mm-hmm. But there are others. You can't fuck around with everybody's livelihood. Mm-hmm. On deck, we're going deep into boardroom backstabbing, toxic investor power grabs, and why so many startups get eaten alive from the inside. We'll bring the receipts and the scars from the front line. Grab a drink. It's going to get nasty.
That's it for this round of burn rate and bullshit.
Where the only thing we sugarcoat is our coffee.
If you like what you heard, great. If you didn't, even better. We're not here to make friends.
Hit subscribe, share it with someone who needs a reality check, and don't forget, cut the burn, call the bullshit.
Send lawyers, guns, and money. This shit has hit the fan.